Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and this is definitely going to be the coolest tutorial yet because I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a web crawler. Some people may call them spiders, but they're basically programs that you can give it any URL you want and it can go to that web page, and it can actually do a couple things. It can either just gather information from that web page, or it could find all the links and go to those web pages, pretty much crawl the web. The most popular web crawler is probably Google's, which goes to a bunch of pages, gathers information for its search engine. So of course we're not going to be building one that big, but this one is actually going to be pretty cool. And also the reason I had this page up is because I'm not sure what websites actually allow you to crawl them. I'm pretty sure like eBay or Craigslist, it's against their terms of service. Like, I don't know that for sure, but I'm like, they probably don't want you doing it. So I figured just to test this out, just so I wouldn't get in trouble, I'm just doing it on one of my own web pages. So if you go to buckysroom.org/trade/index.php, this is a section on my website where I let users like trade items. So this is the home page right here, and it's actually kind of important to see the structure of it. Now if you go to search, this is the page that we're going to be crawling. So of course this lists all the items in all the categories, and if you notice, a couple things we want to take note of, it has a couple pages that the items are on. So they only list 30 items per page, and we're going to be using this parameter right here, the page number, and we're going to be giving our spider that information so it isn't just stuck on one page the whole time. So what our web crawler is going to do is go page by page, and it can either just gather the links, or maybe it can just gather the titles, whatever we want it to do. But anyways, that is how my website is laid out. So let's go ahead and open PyCharm and start coding this bad boy. Now there are a couple modules that we need to import first. The first is requests, and that's because, remember, this is whenever you're connecting to the internet in Python. This is, well, it's my favorite way to. There's actually a couple different ways, but this is to request information from a web page. And another thing that we're going to need is my favorite module of all time. So go to settings, and oops, this is when I was changing the font size for the video. Alright, where am I? Get out of that. So go to project interpreter, and that's where you can see all your modules. And the package or module that we want to import is called Beautiful Soup 4. So again, if you don't have this added, which you probably don't, just add it like before I showed you in the I don't know, like a couple tutorials ago, and look for Beautiful Soup 4. And what this is it's a module that lets you pretty much go to a website and sort through data. So right now that request is kind of limited because it can connect to a web page, but it's kind of dumb. So what Beautiful Soup 4 allows you to do is pretty much look at all the page source, and you can say things like, okay, get all the links from this page, or get all the headers or titles or anything like that. So you guys are going to be seeing how cool it is later on. But anyways, whenever you have it installed, what you can say is from bs4 import Beautiful Soup, and that's going to import all the tools that we need. And again, if you're ever looking at documentation to use this online, it's either you can type in Beautiful Soup bs4 Beautiful Soup 4, and the web page is going to pop up. So if you ever want more information, then just giving you guys a heads up. So now we imported all the crap we need, and the first thing I actually want to do is go back to your main search. So by default we're just on this page right now, and this is the page that we're going to start from, the main search page. So make sure you're on this right here, not like on page 3 or anything like that. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make the core spider, just the main spider that can sift through, and we'll just do something really simple at first before we get too advanced. So since this is a spider that's going to be limited to the trading section of my website, I just want to name it Trade Spider. So after this, what I want to do is I actually want to give it a parameter of max pages, because whenever we're testing things out, say we're just testing it for the first time to make sure it can gather links or something, well, I don't want it to crawl all these pages. What if there's 100 pages? Well, if something isn't working in our program, it's going to take a while to, go through and find the bugs. So whenever I have this parameter max pages, by default we can just set it equal to 1 or 2 at first, and then once everything's working, we'll just set it equal to like 50 or however many pages we want to crawl. So by default, I'm going to set page equal to 1. So this is going to change every time it loops through a page. So basically it's going to do this: crawl this page, and then in our spider we're going to set that variable equal to page 2, and that way it knows to go to page 2 right there, because of course this is a program, it can't actually like click buttons on your web page. So that's why we need to throw in everything in parameters. So once we have that, what we need to do is we need to make a while loop. So we're going to say while the page number is less than max pages. So again, we're going to go through the pages one by one, and it's going to stop whenever we get to max pages. So if we pass in 10 right here, it's going to say, okay, I'm pretty much going to crawl 10 pages. Simple enough. So the first thing I want to do is, actually the first thing that we need to do is we need to build the basic URL, because it's saying, okay, I am a web crawler, but you kind of need to give me a web page to crawl. Well, the web page is this. If you copy that URL, again, we're on page 2, but we'll fix that right now. Again, of course, the easier thing to do is just to throw all of this in a variable. So I'm going to name it URL, and this is the URL that it's going to crawl. So set this equal to this right here. Now, if we just left this as is, then every single time it would just crawl page number 2, and that's obviously not what we want. So what we want to do is actually delete this last number right here, and the page that we wanted to crawl is whatever page this variable is equal to. So get this base URL, and then on the end of it, tack on str page. So again, if this variable changes every time, the URL the first time is going to be page 1, then page 2, then page 3, and it's going to go all the way until it gets to however many pages we told it to crawl. So that's how you can have your URL change every single time. So now we have a URL. What do we need to do now? Well, what we need to do is actually request the data from that website, or connect to that website through Python. So the results that we get back, I'm going to be storing in a variable called source code, and set this equal to request.get URL. So again, each time this loops, it's going to connect to that web page and store the results in a variable called source code. So basically what we have now is, actually I'll view page source, it'll be easier. Basically what we have now is all of this crap stored in that variable. However, whenever you connect to a website, it's a little bit more complex than just getting the page source. It also comes with other stuff like headers. I don't even know if you guys know what headers are, but they're the extra stuff that like your well, it's like extra crap that the user doesn't need to know about. It's probably the easiest example. But all we really want is that source code. So what I can do now is I can put plain underscore text, or you can name your variable anything you want. And if you put